Today, Glitch's newest indie pilot, The Gaslight District, released. Like with my other reviews, I'll give a quick synopsis of what happens during the episode and then move on to discuss the things I liked and disliked. I'll finish off with some concluding thoughts. I hope you enjoy. The Gaslight District is about the story of Mel, who's part of a crime group called the Smiling Dead. They live in a post-apocalyptic world where everything is in ruins and everyone is either undead creatures or creepy birds. Mel is secretly a human with black blood, which makes her a target, and the Smiling Dead try their best to hide that secret. The pilot has the group go on an adventure to steal a human egg so that they can destroy it in front of the rest of the undead to prove that Mel isn't a human. The plan almost works out, however, the pilot ends on a cliffhanger. Inside the egg was actually a bird creature, and the rest of the undead are furious. It sort of sets up the story for what could happen in the future, like with the potential impacts of the Smiling Dead falling out with everyone, whether or not Mel will raise the baby bird, and also the repercussions from them stealing the egg. So with the synopsis covered, let's move on to the review. I'll start with the things I liked. First up, the elephant in the room. The animation is absolutely superb. It's easily the best animated indie show I've ever seen. It's got this wonderful 3D style and it feels like a blend of Glitch's past shows like The Digital Circus and Murder Drones. The setting and backgrounds around the characters all help to reiterate the kind of story they're trying to tell. It's a dystopian hellscape and the dark gritty backdrops and buildings emphasize that really well. The closest comparison I can think of is something like 9 or Corpse Bride. They've nailed the atmosphere and animation. There's a lot of body horror and gore, which was a breath of fresh air for an indie show. The characters all look grotesque, and the scenes where they hack body parts off each other especially was quite violent. I liked when Ken kills Temperance. It's so gory, I love it. It's got a nice blend of violent spectacle, but also simple storytelling. Linked in with this is the music and sound effects. Again, it's really well done. The sound effects don't drag you out of the action, instead they set the tone and mood of what's happening on screen. The eerie noises, the creepy calls of the birds, and all of the various effects during the battle sequences keep you engaged. In other indie shows, sometimes the sounds divert your attention away or mess with the dialogue. But that's not an issue in the Gaslight District, and it's never been an issue in any of Glitch's properties, which is great. Some of the soundtrack is made by Oliver Buckland, and I'm a big fan of his from the Enna series, so I'll definitely have to take a listen to the individual songs sometime after this review. The voice acting I feel was very good. The two best performances I'd say are for Mel and Ken. Mel is just an extremely fun character, both design and personality wise. Alana nailed the role completely. She brings so much charm to the show and was a great fit for the protagonist. Similarly, Jason is brilliant as Ken. We really feel that Ken is this imposing butcher type character, but he has a soft side to him as well with his interactions with Mel. The other voices are decent too. Michael Kovac as Diligence was pretty easy to spot even with the voice filter on top. It's the first time I've seen Michael in a villain type role and I think he did a great job. Breadhead, voiced by Gianni, was a fun comic relief type character. He definitely helped balance out the cast with his silliness. The Angel Mother, voiced by Margaret Ashley, is another surprise character that I enjoyed. The Angel Mother is such a large character with a ton of power, but Margaret was a good fit. I touched on this a bit earlier, but the character design is seriously unreal. Each character has their own silhouette and they're immediately recognizable. Even when they're wearing disguises, you can tell who's who. My favourite design has to go to Mel, she's just awesome. Close runner-ups, however, would be Ken and Temperance. On the story side, it's pretty clear they put a ton of work and time into developing it. There's clearly a lot of lore details hidden in the background that will be fun to decipher and theorise about. The overall story is pretty interesting as well. I'm interested to find out why Mel looks the way she does and how all of the world ended up in the state it is. I'd also like to find out why the main cast in particular have such unique designs compared to the rest of the undead creatures or how they all met. Glitch shows have always been great in the story department and the Gaslight District is no different. The last main thing I liked, which I'll touch on, was the writing. There's a couple great jokes and the dialogue was quite charming. Each character has a unique way of speaking and the writing complements their characters. There wasn't any dull, boring moments or badly written dialogue that would make you raise an eyebrow. A lot of work went into it and it paid off in the end. I also like the cliffhanger type ending. It sets up a lot of intrigue for the audience and gets the ball rolling for future episodes. It wasn't a cliffhanger that annoyed you, it made sense, it develops hype, and it keeps fans guessing for what's next in the story. So with all of the things I like discussed, is there anything I disliked? Well, just a couple. The first and major thing I think is the pacing. The pacing is extremely fast, definitely one of the fastest indie shows yet. It's a bit too fast to where it can be a bit tough to get attached to what's going on or to learn some of the characters' motivations. The pilot is split into 4 parts, which was a good way of segmenting the story and building sort of a road to follow along. But from start to finish, it's all just go. The only time I'd say things slowed down was in the bar sequence, but other than that it was very fast. I think Mel and Ken got the most development out of the cast, but I'm not exactly sure on Breadhead or Mud. Obviously this is a pilot and future episodes will flesh out the characters more, but I think if maybe things slowed down a little, we the audience could absorb things better. I mentioned it earlier, but the main chunk of the lore and details are hidden in the background. This will appeal to some people but not everyone. Personally, I like that style of storytelling, but I watched the pilot with a friend and it turned him off a little on the premise. After a first watch, I'm still still not 100% well versed on the details of the world and characters. So I'll have to watch it more and do a bit of research. But I think for people wanting just a simple indie show where you can stick it on, turn your brain off and watch, I don't think the Gaslight District would be a good fit. It's very confusing and complicated by design, so your mileage will vary on if that's something you like or dislike. So with all of the things I liked and disliked covered, what do I think? Personally, I loved it. For an indie pilot, it's got a great blend of memorable characters, a deep engaging world and wonderful animation. I'm looking forward for future episodes, and I think the pilot did a great job at setting up the story for what's to come. So what do you think? Do you agree with my takes? Did the Gaslight District meet your expectations? Let me know down below. Thanks for watching.